What's up, guys? Chris here to briefly talk about recap last night's boxing. Unfortunately, I didn't get home till past 10. Had to watch it. I had DVR'd it. I am glad I avoided the results, avoided the results on Twitter and online because it was a hell of a couple of fights, and most notably, I guess the results were unexpected on both, particularly the main event. The night started off with Lucas Mattysse taking on Humberto Soto. Matisse won, which I expected, but I didn't expect him to knock out Soto, let alone in the fifth round. Early on, I was kind of worried about Matisse. Soto was landing a lot of straight punches on him, kind of lacing him up, but Matisse, he's got a hell of a chin, and just started breaking Soto down with the body shots, started catching him up top. He was catching him up top early, but Soto's never really been stopped before or down. So I didn't know if he'd be able to wear him down. I thought he would over time, but I didn't think he was going to be able to stop him. But caught him with that big right hand in the fifth round, right at the very end of the round. Hurt him, and then just landed one more right before the bell. Put him down. And I like that the ref really looked at Soto, even though the round was over, before allowing him to go to the corner, and then the corner stopped you. And a lot of times the corner will just revive the guy, pour some ice on him, let him come out for the round. But I think they saw that Soto was done. So a really impressive win for Lucas Matisse. And like I said the other day, I really think this guy's one of the most underrated fighters in the sport, and a guy that can be a real force in the junior welterweight division. I hope to really see him get matched up against a guy like Brandon Rios. I think that would be a barn burner and a hell of a fight, possibly for one of the top spot at junior welterweight. Main event of the night, Victor Ortiz taking on replacement Josesito Lopez, and wow, I know fans, myself included, were disappointed when that Berto fight got canceled for the second time, the rematch, but it's hard to envision Andre Berto Ortiz, not saying it couldn't, rematch, going better than this. What a hell of a fight, man. Big ups to Josesito Lopez. I mean, the guy came in as a replacement, smaller fighter. Obviously, it was evident from the bell he was the smaller fighter. I mean, Ortiz is just a lot thicker, stronger guy than he is. But Lopez really took advantage of Ortiz's mistakes, the holes in his game. Ortiz is a very aggressive fighter, but Lopez, with his straight shots, he was really able to counter him well. Ortiz gets really wide with his shots. That's why he got dropped by Berto so hard in their first fight. He gets wide with stuff, and he's over aggressive. And Lopez, I think they really worked on, how to counter that, and catch him. And he was able to do it on more than one occasion. He was really lacing Ortiz up at times with combinations. And he looked like he had Ortiz hurt a few times here and there, but Ortiz was able to really gather himself quickly. And of course, Ortiz would come back and land some really big shots. You could definitely tell the size and strength advantage was Ortiz's favor, because he was able to really, he would get stopped in his tracks, but he would be able to get back his momentum, or just be able to shake it off fairly quickly. I don't know if Ortiz was able to hurt Lopez as many times, but you could see where he'd be able to really, his shots would really take effect on Lopez. Lopez, he would kind of have to hold more, a little bit more, not get into too much of a war. He could in times here and there, but if he would have for sustained periods of time, it probably would have been to his detriment. But it was a pretty good back and forth fight. I love the fact that Lopez, he would catch Ortiz and kind of stun him, and he would draw. He would say, come on. He would try to get Victor to come at him. But Victor was kind of smart at times. When he was hurt, he wouldn't go into that. You would see him back off, like backpedal, like, nah. Let me, not get caught here. I think he knew he was hurt, and he didn't want to get drawn into what Lopez was doing. He didn't want to get countered, when he was getting countered. But yeah, it looked, however, though, like Victor might have been taking control of the fight. Sides was kind of catching him. Lopez's face was his eye. Obviously, he was getting swollen up. And then what was at the end of the ninth round, Victor got caught with that. I believe it was a right hand. Or was it right or left? I can't even remember. I haven't rewatched the fight, or I did last night. But Victor got caught again. And all of a sudden he was backing off. And Lopez was chasing down at the end of that round. And, they're showing the replay, talking about it, showing that punch. And next thing you know, Gus Johnson's going wild. He's like, the fight's been stopped. Victor Ortiz stops the fight. He's going crazy. I'm paraphrasing. I'm not quoting him exactly, but and it's like, what the hell happened? It was like did Victor Ortiz melt down like in the Maidana fight again? What happened? But, you know, as of course it turns out, he had a broken jaw. It got broken that 9th round. You know, a lot of people were kind of, at least from what I saw on Twitter, I haven't got a chance to check out his YouTube videos yet, really coming down hard on Victor Ortiz, and on Facebook as well from what I saw. You know, I'm not going to be too hard on the kid. Obviously, he has a history of melting down. We saw the Maidana fight as well as the Mayweather fight. But, I mean, he did have a broken jaw. He was spitting up a lot of blood. I've never had a broken jaw. I've never been in the ring like that. You know, I can't come down on the guy. You know, who am I to, you know, really rip Victor Ortiz? But for those that have questioned him and have doubts about his psychology in there and his mental strength, this obviously is going to give them reasons to continue to do so, you know, to doubt him. But either way, you know, I don't really want to come down to on Victor Ortiz. What I want to talk about is Josesito Lopez. Went in there, was a smaller guy, stood in there, had success, never wilted, never gave in. Even when things kind of may not have been turning in Ortiz's favor later, like I said, towards the 9th round, he still hung in there, landed a big shot, changed the course of the fight, obviously, with that punch, and changed the course of his career. And Victor Ortiz's possibly, with one fight. You know, just amazing stuff. You know, great Showtime broadcast. 2 really entertaining fights. Big upset. You know, just, you know, why we love the sport. That broadcast last night was why, in spite of things like Pacquiao Bradley, regardless of what you thought about that fight, and, you know, just all the BS and other stuff that goes on in the sport. Nights like this are the reasons why we're still fans of the sport and why boxing will never die. But anyways, and yeah, of course, now Canelo's out an opponent, you know, because Victor Ortiz obviously is not going to be able to fight him now. Obviously, he's going to fight him, come out for loss. So who knows what's next for Canelo? I hope it's not Vanis Moderation, just because I don't think he deserves to fight. He talks more than he tweets more than he wants to fight real contenders. Wouldn't be surprised if it's Austin Trout. Maybe they can still get James Kirkland in there. I don't know. But we'll see. Time will tell. Anyways, just want to hear your guys' thoughts on the fights. I mean, you probably talked about it elsewhere, but if you want to, comment what you think about Mattysse versus Soto, Josesito Lopez versus Victor Ortiz. Did you enjoy the fights as much as I did? And, you know, what's next for Victor? Can he rebound from this? What do you think about the stoppage? Do you give him a break like I do? Do you give him a pass, or you going to rip him? Let me know. And what's next for Lopez? I mean, I think he's better served at junior welterweight at 140. There's a lot of guys out there. Like I said, Brandon Rios, Lucas Mattysse. I don't know if Amir Khan's going to hang out there and hang around after the next fight or what, but there's a lot of names out there. So what's next for him and what's next for Canelo? Check out scienceofviolence.com and Science of Violence Radio Show. I'll probably be talking about these fights on there today as well. Twitter, Facebook, all that stuff. Links in the first part of the video as always. Till next time, I'm out.